Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Beth and this is Spiral Path Arts. And if you've been following me for a while or you've been just started following me and then went, where did she go? I'll tell you where I went and I'll share with you some of the goodies that I found while I was gone. I recently, just yesterday, 24 hours ago, I returned from a long trip up to Michigan to visit family, to see my dad for his 90th birthday, to visit my mom at the dementia care unit that she is now living in, and to see my sisters and my brother. I'm not discounting seeing him. I only saw him for one day, though, for a couple hours. But to spend some time with my sisters up north, northern Michigan. And, I also got to see my daughters while I was there. My youngest daughter joined me from Nashville on up, spent a few days with her sister, me and my girls together, and then they went off and they went off for their sister time and I went off for my sister time. Anyhow, while I was there, I got to do a little bit of shopping and I'm going to have a little bit of a haul to show you. I did a little bit of just regular chain store shopping, independent bookstore shopping, cannot skip an independent bookstore, and then some thrifting and estate sailing. So let me show you real quick, hopefully, what I got. While I was in Grand Rapids with my daughters, we went to a couple bookstores and a couple little witchy metaphysical shops. A lot of the things I bought at the witchy shops, I gave away to my sisters as a gift. But one thing I got while I was there was this candle that smells amazing. It says Hex the Patriarchy. It's not a like a hand poured, or well, it might be a hand poured, but it's not a. It's a commercially made candle. It wasn't an artisan candle, but it's by Violet and Jade, and it's ash, amber, and earth. It's got a really wonderful earthy smell. My kind of. I'm getting ready for autumn. It's going to happen. I promise. Bought that, and I bought a book that I read, and then after I finished it, gave to my sister to read, so I don't have that with me. The farmer's market, where I got some Michigan cherries, tart cherries. Got some cherries, and some other goodies, some bread and things like that obviously were consumed while we were there. Okay, move on to time with the sisters. First stop, when we got up north, was a Marshall's store. And I don't shop in these stores very often. I'm not making a, like I'm better than Marshall's. It's just I don't have one around. So I always find something I want in there. One thing I found was this cute mug that looks like Mr. Henry a little bit. It doesn't have quite as much black on it as Mr. Henry, but it's nice and chunky like he is. I don't know if that I'll drink out of it because it's really big, and I feel like the shape of it might not work real well for a teacup mug, but I think it would be really cute with paintbrushes or pens or something in it. So, and I mean, seriously, the picture on the tag, that's Henry. It's gotta be. So I thought it was cute. Got that at Marshall's. Got this tote bag because you can't have too many tote bags, and got some bathroom things, because someday my bathroom will be done and I'll be able to move in there. One was a candle that's Willow and Lilac, Kalamazoo Candle Company. Oh no, I bought this at a bookstore in Grand Rapids. That's right, I did not buy this at Marshall's. Kalamazoo Candle Company, Lilac and Willow. I'm assuming they have a website. Find them, check them out. Delicious. But that's for my new bathroom, as is this shower bomb, which I also think I got at one of the little witchy shops. It's bergamot and cedar. So bathroom is good to go. Well, it's not, but we're getting there. And then this bathroom organizer set of these little, drawer organizers. There's a whole bunch of different ones in there. Nothing too exciting, but it's what it is. Oh, and a shower curtain for my new bathroom. That was what I was mainly looking for, so I didn't have to make another trip to Prattville or Montgomery after I got home to find those kind of things. then the next stop was Joann, Fabric and Crafts, and didn't really find any fabric in there. There were a few that I debated, but I didn't want to stand in line. Well, we were actually the only people in there, but I didn't really, that wasn't what I needed. So, Wonder Tape, couldn't find mine, so I bought some more. Some preserved moss for a project that I'll show you hopefully soon. And then I let YouTube influence me. I think that's kind of the point of YouTube, but you know, I have resisted for over a decade to get into English paper piecing. When I worked at the quilt shop, there were a number of ladies that were doing amazing things, but I've seen just enough now on the internet that I was like, I really want to try that. So I bought some Hexies shapes. So stay tuned. It's just another way for me to use up scraps and fabric, and I'm all about that. And it's nice and portable. So when I get done with all my fall projects, this could probably be my winter project. Okay, that is all the new stuff that I bought. Then, well, this is new, but I didn't buy it. These were gifts from my sister. This cute little kind of locket, and it has a moonstone on it, and it's a locket. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with that. I think something fun. This little mini watercolor paint palette. It's really cool. And then a little small watercolor journal. Because we were doing some watercolor painting when we were all together up north. Okay, that's all the new stuff. Then when we got up north, we found on Facebook Marketplace that there was going to be an estate sale. So we hit the estate sale. And the things I found at the estate sale. First of all, I found these 3 wooden quilt frames, quilt hoops. And I have one, you know, that it's a little smaller round one than this one. I don't really intend to hand quilt, but you never know. And it was $3 for all 3 of these. And I figured even if I don't use them in their intended purpose of hand quilting a quilt, which I still might do. I have found myself enjoying hand stitching a lot more than I did a couple decades ago when I did the other one I ever did. Anyhow, I think I might be able to hang them on the wall just for, in my sewing room, I have so much tall wall space. I can hang them up there or put vintage fabric in them and hang them up. Something. I'll do something with them. Then I'm gonna save that for a minute. The lady had, whose estate this was, so many books. Craft books, art books, home, everything. Most eclectic mix of books I've seen since I cleaned off my bookshelf, I think. And they had a deal. They were $1 each, or if you bought 20, they were $10, 50 cents each. So between the 3 of us, we came up with 20 books. I got 4. I swear I had more, but we got back to the cabin and I was like, yeah, I guess that's all I got. And they're not particularly exciting books, and a couple of them I just grabbed because we were trying to get to 20, and I figured for 50 cents I'll see what they are. I got this rag rug book. I had hoped it was more braided rag rugs, and it's not. It's more wool rug hooking rugs, which I find beautiful and interesting, but at the moment don't really have any intention of trying that. A watercolor book, again, beyond the scope of what I know about watercolor, but there's some pretty inspiration in here and maybe some tips and tricks that I can, if I want to spend some time learning more about watercolor, can do. This was the first book I've grabbed. It's HGTV Complete Fix-It book for your house. I had a Reader's Digest version of this type of book, and I don't know what happened to it, but it's got everything from, you know, gutters and siding to electrical work to patch and drywall, plumbing work, all the little fix it around the house things. And Lord knows I have to fix a lot of stuff around my house. And then the final one that I really liked was this floral embroidery. The embroidery is floral. It's just got some really pretty inspiration in here, and I figured I would use that. So that is not all from that sale. Then there was they had a lot of just like boxes with a price for everything in the box. I didn't realize that when I picked up a couple things, which I can't find right now. Oh, this box. I grabbed a couple things out of this one box, and then my sister came along later and was looking at the rest of the things in that box, and that's where we realized it said $5 for the whole box. And I said, well, I've already taken a couple things out of that box, so why don't we just buy the whole box and we'll split it up. That's what we did. But the two things I wanted out of the box, one was this brand new sketch pad of paper, and this little box that is kind of like it's not an easel, but it's like a little travel art kit. So you can put your pens or paintbrushes there, or really long paintbrushes here, and you know, your paint palettes and things like that. It needs to be cleaned up and oiled a little bit, but I thought it was kind of cool. I liked it. So we split a box for $5 and we're good. And then I think the last thing I found there was this tablecloth. And I did just do a Google image search, and so now I know what I found. It's this beautiful round mid-century, late mid-century linen printed tablecloth. And it's a Vera. Here's the signature on it. Put it in tight. There is the signature on it. A Vera Newman is what the Google machine and Etsy and eBay told me. I got it for like $3. Do your own research, you know I got a good deal. That was there. That was the estate sale. Then, oh, no, it isn't. My crowning glory of what I found at the estate sale was this box of these little mini magazines. And they're all work basket magazines, which are these little, used to come, and these were $1 in the mid 80s. And they have little, each one has many patterns in it for crochet, tatting, knitting. There's recipes in here, dill pickles. How to make, oh, this is all pickling things. Oh, I didn't even see, each time I grab one, I find something different. And lots of interesting advertising. I'm probably going to have to do a separate video of flip-throughing these and highlighting some of the fun things that I'm finding in here. But what drew me to it first was the very first thing on top was one of these it's open, it's got its cover and everything, but they've all been, there's a bunch of them that have been left folded open with the state, what do they call it? State quilt patterns. So there's a whole bunch here, and they're all different quilt blocks for each state of the union. And they're from around the mid 80s. And I thought, I'm probably never going to do it, but if I were, even if I didn't do all 50 states, but I might, I could pick out some of these blocks and do something with it. Anyway, so I brought it home. I put it right in my sister's truck to take back downstate and put in my car. I didn't really look at it after I bought it. But then I got it home last night and I'm flipping through. So I go through all the state quilt patterns. And, you know, these are still from the mid to late 80s, a few from the early 90s. They're not grabbing me as anything particular that I would want to necessarily make, because they're, you know, very 80s looking. Yeah, some of them. But then I flip, you know, there's another one from 90, and then I get to this one halfway through the box. November 1957. And the rest of the box is all from the mid-century, late 50s, early 60s. Oh my God, the projects in here, the advertising in here, it's something. Let me just tell you. And I can't wait to really dig into these a little bit more. And that might end up being, it's going to have to be its own video. There's ads for girdles. It's just, anyway. But the what really excited me about the ones from the 50s and 60s is that, you know, these craft magazines were a lot more advanced, if you will, than what we see now, because women, predominantly women, one would expect in 1962, were expected to know how to do these things if they were, you know, buying these kind of magazines. So, you know, the tatting instructions, the crocheted lace, the patterns in here are much more advanced as anything you're going to find anywhere else. Now, there's probably better, more modern ways of doing some of these things, and that might be my goal in life, is to take how they're written here and rework them for a modern crafter. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where these end up. This could, I mean, I know where they're going to end up, but what projects end up coming out of them, because there's some amazing ones. But I need to really get time to go through the whole box and annotate them and sort them and figure out what's in there. That was my fun find at the estate sale. From the estate sale, we went to a little kind of antique store out wherever we went, outside Onaway. Roxy's Relics and Curiosities. We were really hoping to find like taxidermied animals, but we didn't. Anyhow, she's got this cute little place. If you're in Onaway, upper northeastern Michigan, lower peninsula, give her a shot. Try it, see if she's open. She's got some cute, she said she has a house full of antiques, so every time she sells something, she brings something else up from the house. I didn't find a lot at Roxy's, but I'd already kind of shot my load, if you will, buying all this other stuff. All right, one of the things I found at Roxy's was this chunk of fabric, and it's a twill, kind of a lightweight denim with these, you know, it kind of goes in this room, which I kind of thought maybe, but I don't really need any more floral in this room. But I was thinking it would make, there is 3 yards here, which I didn't even measure it till I got home last night, but there's 3 yards here, which is plenty to make a pair of cute floral overalls. And that's what I want to do. I just don't know what pattern yet. My one I could easily do would be the Mildred overalls from Style Arc. Yeah. But I kind of want something maybe a little looser. I mean, I'd probably size up on those anyway. But something, but I can't have anything with like a lot of gathers, or I could do pleats, but I can't really do gathers. So Mildred is one possibility. There's no gathers, and I know how to do that pattern, and I like it. But I'm thinking something a little bit more like my Duluth trading overalls that I have. But I think it's just they'll be fun pair of overalls. That's my plan with those. And then what else did I find at Roxy's? I guess the only other thing I found at Roxy's, which isn't an only, it's a big, is this. All right, we gotta move stuff because you can't see it. Okay, is this bark, basically. It's a mid-century, probably, or, you know, post 60s, 70s, something like that. I think everybody's grandma had something like this in their kitchen. This one does not have a handle, and it's smaller, which is why, because my grandma had one, but it was a little bigger than this, and it had a handle. And it never had liquor on it, I can guarantee you, if it's at my grandma's house. But I'm not going to use it as a bar cart. I don't need it as a bar cart. I don't think. It might end up with some sodas or something on it. But what I've been looking for, and why I grabbed this, was because I need a place to put either and or my microwave, which I have a small apartment sized microwave because I don't use my microwave very often. So it could go on this shelf. But then I have a Breville smart oven, like a countertop oven that's like a little convection oven. I use all the time. But I have very, very little countertop space in my kitchen. So both of those things are on my kitchen counter, and they take up the majority of my kitchen counter. So I'm thinking I'm going to move them onto this and put them elsewhere in the kitchen where I can roll them out of the way. But I could also, if I wanted to, roll them up closer to the refrigerator or whatever. But I don't really need to. I am debating, and you can give me your opinion in the comments down below. Do I leave it this late 60s, early 70s putty beigey color? Just not very exciting, but it's the original finish. This is not a high-end antique by any stretch of the imagination. Clean it up and call it a day, use it. Or do I take it apart, clean it up a little further? Some of those screws and things are a little rusty, fix those up and spray paint the metal parts with a spray enamel, a fun color for my kitchen. I don't need to make that decision anytime soon because I am not redoing my kitchen anytime soon. Repainting. But good find, didn't spend a lot of money on it, and it fit in my car coming home. Because this year I drove. Last year I flew, had to buy a second suitcase, but I don't think the airline would let me take this on as a carry-on. And I think I bought more this year than would have even fit in a second suitcase. Because I knew I had a car that I could bring everything home in. Okay, my first and last stop on this trip was to my parents. And the last night when we came back from the cabin and back to my hometown, I went over and stayed with my dad because he's been living alone without my mom now for a number of months. And it's just going to be his 90th birthday in a couple days. And I just wanted to spend a little bit of time with him. Plus, I wanted to give my sister a break. She'd been hostessing us for over a week. And I figured she needed to just decompress and be home with her animals and her husband and not have a guest in her house for one more night. So I went over to Dad's and listened to him talk. If you have someone in your life that is, in their 70s, 80s, 90s, a grandparent, parent, especially one like my dad who, mom is still alive, but they're both entering the last chapter and having a lot of changes. They've been together. This fall will be their 70th wedding anniversary. Can you imagine? Just take time to listen to their stories. You may have heard most of them before. If you know my dad, you've heard most of them before. But if you let him keep talking, you might get something you haven't heard before. And that's how Tuesday night was. I sat there and I really just let him talk, and yeah, a lot of it was stuff I'd heard before, but also some of it was a little more insightful as to who he is as a person and how he got that way, good for the good or the bad. Anyhow, it was just, and I think it probably is the best gift anybody could give him for his 90th birthday, was just to listen. So if you have the opportunity to do that, of course, an hour or two into his visiting, I wish I had put my camera on a tripod and just recorded it. So if you have the opportunity and you think of it, do that too. Anyhow, sitting there with him, my mom had a sewing closet that when they remodeled the house in the 70s, he built, included in the plans. And it's this big double bifold doors that open up closet right off the family room, right there in the main room of the house, with their sewing machine table in it, built-in shelves and built-in drawers. It's also a coat closet for the front door. But then she could sew, and then she could close everything up. And so she's had that for 50 years. And then he built her this little rolling stool that she would sit on when she sewed that opened up and you could put stuff in it. And it was sitting there in the family room. You'd use it as a footstool or something. And I opened it up, just curiosity. And there were some things in there. So he said, well, take anything you want. She's not going to come back and make any quilts. Unfortunately, he's right. So one thing I found are these 2 adult coloring books, which ironically, I think I took her 3 coloring books that I knew I wasn't going to use down to the care facility, and then took 2 back. So that was kind of a wash. But I'm thinking there might be some inspiration in some of these for some embroidery patterns. So if I simplify the pictures, I can maybe embroider. Okay. Then there was this bag of polka dot flannel. And this actually came from me, so I'm just taking back what I gave and she didn't use. It's really high quality motif flannel, and I'm thinking I'm going to make face cloths out of it. I'll just double it, serge around the edges, and make some flannel cloths for taking makeup off and what have you. But there's actually the green one, there's quite a bit, so maybe it'll become something else. So yeah. And then there were these fun Halloween and fall cotton prints in there. I think she was making table runners, probably for the church bazaar or something. So grab those because I'll maybe I have a project I'm working on now that I haven't shared with you that these might work for. So that was my trip to Michigan and the haul that I hauled back in my Mini Cooper from Michigan for things to craft with and add to the eclecticism of my little house here. And yeah, it was a fun trip. Like I said, I got to spend time with family. I didn't really get to see any of my Michigan friends. The nature of the trip, I thought I would, because I drove my own car, I thought that maybe I would drive around the state a little bit more and visit some people. But after you drive 900 miles, 14 hours in 2 days, you get there and you just want to get out of the car. You don't want to go anywhere else, or drive again. So I still haven't visited a lot of family there. So if you're watching this and you're one of my Michigan friends, I should say, apologize that I didn't let you know I was going to be in town, but I was still on somebody else's time frame and the priority was still family time. So sometime I'll get to see you all. Do have a class reunion coming up next year, but I don't know if I'll be going to that or not. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you come back and see what I do with some of the stuff. Eventually my bathroom will be finished and the bathroom organizing and decorating stuff will be used. At some point I'm going to go through this box of work baskets a little more in detail. Maybe I will hand quilt a quilt. Who knows? I'm doing some fall projects. I'm going to make the overalls, so that'll be cute. I don't know which. If you have a suggestion for a cute overall pattern, put it in the comments or link it somewhere because that would be fun. And I think my new slow stitching mobile obsession stitching project will be starting this hexie quilt, but I got a lot of other projects that I know that if I start doing the English paper piecing, I'll just sit here on the couch and do that, listening to podcasts and not getting the other stuff done. Anyway, come back, see what I decide to do next, and thanks for watching.